So it looks like us diesel owners are getting some good news here, but a lot of people are a little upset. I was actually on Car and Driver reading through some of the comments, and I'm appalled by how many libs are actually on Car and Driver. My goodness, it's insane. Almost makes you wonder if these people are even real. But regardless of that, I'm not going down that road. The EPA has an announcement. It looks like we have some good news as diesel owners, but is it good news or is it just a step in the right direction for hopefully real change? Let's find out. It says here the EPA reportedly wants to remove limits on tailpipe emissions. I know this article is probably a few days late, but I'm sure we're going to get some more updates soon. But it says down here, a newly drafted plan from the EPA, said to be days away from going public, aims to strip the agency's ability to limit greenhouse gases. According to reporting from the New York Times, we know that they are unbiased and they always tell the truth. The draft proposal rescinds a 2009 declaration that carbon dioxide and methane emissions are hazardous to public health. A lot of people are putting out all this misinformation about how they're trying to just get rid of all regulations, starting from the 1950s. So when you read some people's, comments, it's almost like they're saying they're getting rid of catalytic converters, they're getting rid of everything. But no, this goes back to 2009. So again, before you jump to conclusions, understand what they're actually going after. Let's keep reading. If verified and passed, such a proposal presents further headwinds to EV adoption and also removes limits on tailpipe emissions. The ruling would also affect industrial pollution, but as far as the automotive industry is concerned, it would remove carbon emission limitations as a target for automakers. With fines for CAFE violations largely eliminated and federal rebates for EV purchases gone, this new change could continue to change the course of domestic car manufacturing. Long term, such a change would limit the EPA's authority to enforce rules aimed at limiting climate change. Let me start off by saying I don't want to make this blue versus red because I feel as though we've done that enough in the past. I'm just tired of this back and forth stuff. It's time to move on. I feel as though when you watch the news, oh my gosh, it's just becoming almost nauseating for me. I don't watch the news anymore because it's just frustrating on just how much people lie. And it's not just the left, it's not just the right, it's just everyone. And so it's time to really see this for what it is. This was a step of control that is being rewinded, and that is what needs to happen. Regardless of how you look at it, remember, I've said this in the past, there's a lot of pollution in cities. I won't even say blue cities, but yes, if you ever go to Portland, Oregon, if you ever go to Washington State in some of those cities, if you ever go to California, you pick one, pick a city out there and look at all the pollution. I can fly over to Philadelphia. I've been to Philadelphia so many times, and I'm always shocked at how dirty the city is just 2 blocks away from another part of the city. It's insane. It's like, do y'all just stop cleaning here and then you turn around? But regardless of that, we don't know if diesel soot is actually killing mass amount of people. Because what I know today is people are still dying from health issues. McDonald's probably kills more people than diesel soot. Let's be honest here. McDonald's, cigarettes. Do you really want to regulate? Let's talk about getting rid of cigarettes, right? Let's talk about getting rid of the electric cigarettes. I mean, what about those things? Those things are harmful to the health. We've actually seen the type of, issues that can cause people. I've witnessed it single-handedly with people in my family. But yet people are still smoking. But when it comes down to diesel engines, they have not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but they have multiple, over 5 different emissions control on this engine. And they were talking about adding more in the next couple years. How insane is that? And then we sat back and watched this as they were trying to shove EVs down people's throats. We watched that. Diesel emissions is all about control. Who are they trying to control? Whether you agree or not, it doesn't matter. You can see what happened. Remember, they tried to tell you that your mask protects me and my mask protects you. I don't know how insane that was. And people believed it. That is control. The way that they're locking up these ECUs so people cannot tune their trucks, their cars, that is control. Mandating EVs, you have to have an EV, right? We're gonna stop internal combustion engine sales in this state. That means you have to buy a new EV moving forward. That is control. What they're doing here is saying, no, this is not the American way. Allow people to have a choice. That's all this is. You guys clearly saw that in this article. And I don't know what side of the fence car and driver's on. Sometimes I think they're a little bit in the middle, a little bit liberal, but you guys read that. The EPA overstepped their bounds. Let's keep reading this, but I wanted to make that point real quickly. This is not us against you. This is all about keeping people in Congress at bay. They're not allowed to make decisions the way they see fit. What they do has to make sense, has to be concise, and it has to work for all American people. People are trying to control diesel engines, and they will never own a diesel engine. That is literally like me going into a hair salon for women and saying, hey, guys, these spray cans with the hair stuff, I don't know what it is, but you can't use this anymore. We gotta regulate. I mean, but I will never go to a female salon to get my hair done. So why am I over here trying to change things that I have nothing to do with? They should allow engineers, guys who actually own these trucks, women too, to find ways to make equitable changes. Changes that will actually make sense, that can actually gain fuel economy and help the environment. It shouldn't just be helping the environment and screw your fuel economy, because you're not the one buying my gas and my diesel, so you shouldn't have control over whether or not my truck stays factory or not. It says here the proposed draft is said not to argue with the science regarding greenhouse gas emissions, but rather it states that the EPA has legally overstepped its authority. My goodness, I should have read this before I stopped. It seeks to limit the EPA's ability to legislate except in specific circumstances. There are several steps to be taken before such a change occurs, not least of which are various legal hurdles. If enacted, the new plan would almost certainly face challenges from various sources. It also has to weather some form of public review. It took 2 years for the EPA to officially label greenhouse gases as a public health issue after a 2007 Supreme Court ruling that they were pollutants under the Clean Air Act. Unwinding this finding may take a similarly long timeline. If you are in the automaking business, however, it's fairly straightforward to see which way the winds are blowing. For the near future, investing in combustion-powered transportation is likely to be the safe bet. I think that's pretty funny that they said you have a safe bet to invest in internal combustion engines, because I don't think I've ever seen where EVs were taking over and that people were buying them at a faster or higher rate compared to internal combustion engines. It's always been a safe bet to invest in internal combustion engines. The manufacturers have not figured out the EV. The EV is still, a science fair project in my opinion. That's just the best way to put it. Last thing I'll say to you guys is this. People should be allowed to do what they want to do. That is the main point for me doing this video. If I decide I want to delete my truck, I should be able to do it. If I lose my warranty, so be it. But the manufacturer is locking up the ECUs to prevent people from going in and doing what they want to do. Is pretty controlling. Mandating by 2030, 2035, 2036, 2040, it kept changing because obviously they don't have a plan. But to mandate that internal combustion engines could not be sold in certain states, That's crazy. That to me was the biggest slap in the face, especially the guys who deliver their goods to our states, the people who buy diesel engines, and even if they use a gas engine and hot shot, it doesn't matter. But my point is, it shocked me how people just can't see it. And, you know, I never understood how a man can want to play in women's sports, absolutely dominate, and be okay with that. There's a lot of things that don't make sense, and that is why I voted the way I did. And what I saw the last 4 years, I was like, you know what? I don't want that for the next 4 years. I think that even though Donald Trump is he's kind of becoming a politician, unfortunately, I still am happy he's in office. And I know that might make some of you guys angry, but it's just the truth. You know, I think that law and order is needed more than ever. And I think that people need to understand that the pathway we were going down was not the pathway we wanted to go. I'm going to show you guys some of the comments here. Just pause so you can read them. I'm not going to read them to you guys because I'm going to end this video, but let me know your guys' thoughts. This is still a long road ahead. Doesn't mean that tomorrow trucks are going to come out of the factory with no DPF, SCR, DEF tank. I would love to see those things as an option because, like I told you guys, some people do want to help the environment. And my thinking is, if you're someone who drives an EV, then you're doing your part for the environment for tailpipe emissions. You don't have any, right? But obviously people can make a, never mind, okay, never mind. I'll let you feel good about yourself about your EV. But regardless of that, I think that people really need to see this for what it is. It was control and it was overstepping bounds. They were pushing the bounds. What happens when someone pushes the bounds? Do they just stop and say, you know what? We kind of overstepped there and we're gonna stay here. We're not gonna move anymore. We're gonna stay right here because we are happy with the type of emissions control that we have. No, no, no. They're gonna continue down the path till one day they say, you know what? We don't want you to own a diesel engine anymore. This is what you can buy.